Hello. Today I'm going to be talking to you about some of the benefits of adopting a thesis by publication or any other named mode of doctoral education that sees candidates engaging in the publication process. So I'm going to share with you some of the benefits that have been raised by participants in our recent TVP study. And the full results you can find in this paper, which outlines both the benefits and the challenges that candidates faced. So I recommend that you watch this video and then afterwards take a look at my other video, which looks at the challenges. And that way you can weigh up the pros and cons and decide whether the TVP is a fit for you. Okay, so these are the 7 benefits that our participants independently raised in their open-ended questions and that we identified as recurring across the sample. So what I'll do is I'll go through each of the 7 benefits. I'll share with you a quote from one of our participants and talk a little bit about each of them. So the quotes that I'll use today are not quotes that were included in our paper. So we got so much in-depth information and stories from our participants. So we'll share a few new ones. So the first is, and these are in no particular order, but one of the benefits is skills for research. And many of our participants felt that the TVP allowed them a chance to develop some important skills for their careers. Of course, at the base of the foundation is academic writing, but also editing, dealing with publishers, dealing with editors, dealing with critical feedback. All these types of things help them build skills that they felt were very important for their subsequent careers. Next is for career and reputation. So because their work is getting published, it's out there before they've finished their doctoral degree, they're building a profile. They're building a track record of publications, which many felt directly impacted their future career progression and perhaps sped it up. Next is accessibility and research dissemination. So a lot of our participants talked about getting their research out there, not being hidden away, especially in fields where things are moving quite quickly, like computer sciences. If they wait until the end of their candidature, perhaps it's no longer relevant. So getting that out in a timely way was really important for our participants. So the next is about efficiency, and many of our candidates talked about not having to write a monograph and then at the end having to rewrite the findings into papers, and they felt that was a much more efficient way of moving forward. And also breaking up the parts of the doctoral journey into chunks was a word that was often used. For our candidates, they felt that this was a much more efficient way of moving forward and dealing with smaller milestones. So this connects to our next benefit, which is emotion and motivation. So instead of focusing on a 100,000 word thesis, you're focusing right now on this 7,000 word manuscript. And many of our participants wrote that it was less daunting or less overwhelming. These were words that were often used. And these smaller milestones can help build motivation. And next is feedback. So of course in any form of doctoral education there is feedback, most often from the supervisor. But in a thesis by publication, there's feedback earlier and perhaps more regularly and from a wider variety of sources. So you're getting, of course, your feedback from your supervisors, but you're getting feedback from editors, from peer reviewers. If a paper is published, you might be getting feedback from readers. And so this range of sources of feedback was a huge benefit for many of the participants in our study. And finally, we look to examination, and many of our participants felt that by having their papers published or their work published, they felt some kind of peace of mind when it came to the examination process. Some felt that it expedited the process, that because it had already been subject to critique, that the examination process might be smoother. We do want to stress that being published is not guarantee of conferral, and examiners can critique negatively, harshly, things that have already been published, and this is something that is, of course, this is part of academia. But this sense of already having gone through a process of examination is something that really benefited many of the participants that we surveyed. Okay, so they were our 7 benefits to adopting the thesis by publication. What I'd also ask you to do is take a look at our other video, which looks at some of the challenges, so that you can weigh up the pros and the cons. But if you have any more questions, I'd really love to see them in the comments. And thanks very much for listening. Thank you.